What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 11th Pro Series from Star Ladder, and this is going to be Game 2 between DUZA and House of Gamers. We currently are standing 1-0, DUZA claiming Game 1 after a very long drawn-out game. We'll see if House of Gamers can bring it back and force it to a Game 3. This is typically not the draft that we usually see. Before we get into that, I'm Mikelorus. I got MRP Dota here as well, and that was quite a long game. I don't think anyone has to drastically change what they do, but a lot of missteps along the way for both sides.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see DUZA win the game beyond what we consider to be their timing window. They definitely could have finished it off earlier had they not been caught out a few times and had to disperse, wait for their Centaur or their Wraith King to respawn for that initiation from them. But yeah, I like a little bit of lackluster play from Wing Zero on the Bat Rider was unfortunate from HOG. Either way, good on DUZA. Looks like we are in the lightning round of the draft here. Things getting underway real quickly for this game too.
Alright, so DUZA opening up with the Brewmaster, taking a Scarith Mage afterwards. There's a little bit more protection for the Brewmaster. Other than that, it's just a good support hero to have. Disruptor, Ember Spirit, not the build, or not the opening that you often see. Disruptor mostly in direct response to the Brewmaster, although typically I like the Scarith Mage in response a little bit more. Ember Spirit is not a hero that I would place a huge amount of priority on. He's a very powerful hero, but he is very easy to counterpick, as DUZA are already kind of counterpicking it with a Scarith Mage, and that's point-clink silence. If DUZA pick up any other form of crowd control, and I'm sure they will, then they will be more and more prepared to deal with an Ember Spirit. And already, like, if it's Ember Spirit versus Brewmaster, that's a reasonable matchup for DUZA.
Yeah, definitely so. And also just the Cyclone deals well with the Ember during engagements. He really wants to be able to consistently get off those sleights of fist, as well as the burn from the Flame Guard more earlier on. And so just the Cyclone does well to deal with him. Static Storm deals well with the Brewmaster. It's arguable that Skywrath is a counter to Ember. I mean, on paper, he looks like a great counter, but in practice, it's actually about a 50-50% win rate for both of those heroes against each other, just because the Ember can burst him down so quickly. But if he's able to position himself well, that Ancient Seal definitely super effective versus Ember. And ET going to be picked up here from HOG, not something I've seen all too often beyond or past the Summit 2 here. So back to the ET we go. Natural Order, obvious reasons, helps you scale into the late game. He's a pretty darn good off laner, and also a hero that really just benefits from levels over farm. You can pretty much build any item build on this Elder Titan. He'll still be effective with the Astral Spirit. The radius of the Stomp is very nice, and the Natural Order into the late game. His Earth Splitter, not one of the most overwhelming abilities in the game, but is pretty decent as well if you can land it on multiple heroes. So we'll be interesting to see how they utilize that. I do worry a bit for HOG thus far in the draft. They don't have too much lockdown, reliable lockdown anyways. They do have the Stomp and the Kinetic Field and the Chains, but those are all things that depend on some good positioning and timing. So DUZA are going to respond here with the Lion.
This is just another hero in response to the Ember Spirit, and I guess to a lesser extent Juggernaut. Can't spin if you're stunned in Hex, right? And then you just blast him down. So it's another point-click disable for Ember Spirit. It has minor synergy with the Scarith Mage. I guess you could amplify the Finger of Death. Not like that's ever really necessary, but if you do, the enemy is going to be very, very dead. DUZA mostly on the responsive end of this draft, whereas House of Gamers picking up pretty much anything that they want. Juggernaut is going to be the pick for them. I'm inclined to think now Elder Titan is going to be played as support with Disruptor, Ember Spirit, and Juggernaut. Well, Juggernaut might join them, but Juggernaut, Disruptor, Juggernaut, Elder Titan is pretty average. I mean, it could get some kills, but it's certainly not the most devastating of combinations. Unless you start with having the enemy caught out of position, you could glimpse them back, but outside of that happening, good luck doing anything substantial. House of Gamers have a very middle-of-the-road kind of draft. Like, both Ember Spirit, Juggernaut do pretty mixed damage, both physical and magical, and I guess you get double duty out of Elder Titan's aura that way. But House of Gamers, they have pretty much pure damage right now with not that much control. It's all in the hands of Disruptor, and he is a very easy hero to bring down, or in certain circumstances just outright ignore.
Yeah, if they just throw the Ancient Seal on him or a Hex from the Lion, they're not going to be too worried about this Disruptor. They're going to rely heavily on the Static Storm in this one, even thus far through DUZA's draft. And they do have so many directions they can still go. They can still get something like a Medusa here, something with a little bit more of a late-game insurance policy. They can also get something that helps them fight early. I don't mind the Slark here at all because they do lack lockdown. Slark actually was banned out by DUZA, but because they do lack lockdown, if they pick up something elusive like that for their 1 or or off lane role. That'll be pretty good, I believe, versus HOG. They could even pick up the Pugna here. Works fairly well with the Nether Ward there. Also, the Decrepify works well against the Omni Slash, but they'll pick up the Nakes here. So interesting pickup from them. Not something I've seen all too often recently.
So Lifestealer is pretty good against Juggernaut. You could just turn around and completely ignore his Blade Furies. That's kind of nice. I was thinking more along the lines of Puck, but how's the gamer is going to make sure that that doesn't happen? Would have made the lanes a little bit awkward, but certainly doable. For the Lifestealer pickup, there is the Brewmaster blink into a clap into an infest, which is pretty good. It's not exactly Storm Spirit, which I think most people would say is the best way to get Lifestealer into the middle of the fray. Puck being probably a close second, but this is a reasonable pick. Lifestealer is, I mean, he's okay versus Elder Titan. Generally, you want him against strength heroes. Ember Spirit, Juggernauts, they are packing enough armor so that Lifestealer isn't going to be a huge menace, but DUZA, they have more than enough protection for this Lifestealer, and if you can't control a Lifestealer, and House of Gamers already, we said, they lack control, then they're going to be at the mercy of the Lifestealer. They're going to have to rely on Ember Spirit mobility, rely on Force Staves and the like to survive, and I don't really know if those items are going to be picked up in time.
Yeah, the Omni Slash is really going to be kind of their only way to deal with him through Rage. Rage is very nice as well, as you don't have to cast it preemptively once you're glimpsed. You can cast it as the projectile begins to move back to the position you'll be returned to. So it's nice in that sense. Open Wounds is also a little bit underrated versus Ember Spirit. If he already doesn't have a spirit placed down, then his spirits move very slowly. They move at the same rate as he does when you throw them out. So that Remnant is going to be extremely slow under the cover of Open Wounds. So that's pretty good against the Ember as well. I do feel like the Lifestealer isn't a bad pickup here, but there certainly are ways to deal with him. The Natural Order is going to bring his resistances pretty low. The Omni Slash can deal with him as well, and outside of the Rage, he's not going to be extremely survivable, but he does still have that Infest as well. So, and he does hit like a truck, so this Disruptor certainly should be worried about being brought down early and often, and we already spoke to the value of the Disruptor to HOG's lineup, so if they're able to pick him off early and often in most of these engagements, it should spell doom for most of the team fights for HOG.
And for DUZA, there's also the Dream of Lion. You open wounds into Finger of Death, full heal, pretty much. It's probably not going to matter ever in Dota, but you know what? It's fun to think about. If that does happen, we'll just, you know, put 1 on the tally board, and then it'll stay at 1 for the rest of history.
Highlights Inc.
Well, I mean, it's possible. I guess Skywrath Mage also kind of has the dream there, but it's probably not going to be relevant. Either way, I expect to see a defensive tri-lane from DUZA, although their offensive capability is also pretty good. Going up against Juggernaut is always going to be a little bit sketchy just because Blade Fury is such a ridiculous skill at the early stages of the game. Either way, House of Gamers looking for one more hero depending on what they themselves want to do. Maybe they're going to pick up another support and shove Elder Titan over to an offlane role. It's going to be a Zeus actually, so it is pure damage. However, Zeus not too good versus Lifestealer.
Yeah, and they still lack lockdown heavily throughout their lineup, regardless of whether they put this ET or the Zeus in the core role. The laning will be a little bit awkward for them, I fear. I mean, they can put the Ember in the safe lane with the Juggernaut in mid with the healing ward now, but that tri-lane that they will have otherwise will be pretty poor, so I expect the Zeus to go mid here, and in that sense, the Juggernaut may have to go into an aggro tri. They may leave the Ember solo safe lane. I feel like that's probably one of the more likely choices, but I don't feel like this aggro tri has enough lockdown to work out if they do opt for that choice. Juggernaut can go towards the offlane with a max healing ward, but he's not going to find much farm there. And DUZA going to round out their lineup here with the Dazzle, so perhaps we see a core Skywrath Mage or Lion in this one.
It's certainly a toss in the air. I mean, Lion, Skywrath Mage, core, they both are reasonable. It's not something that we always see. I think Lion is definitely worse as a support than Skywrath Mage is, but that isn't really an argument for putting Lion as a core. So not really too sure how this is going to work out for DUZA. The Dazzle mostly in response to the fact that you could very quickly lose any one of your heroes to an Omni Slash or anything like that. If you grave them, you're not going to die to Omni Slash. Easy as that. Also, I guess minor synergy or minor counter, you just get rid of the natural order, quote unquote, by weaving your allies. Not really sure how relevant that's going to be over the course of this game, but the Dazzle as the last pick is going to put a lot of pressure into the Lifestealer in order to carry the late game on his back, and Lifestealer is certainly a hero that can do it, but it's just going to mean that it is a little bit more difficult for him to actually get that done. We'll see who actually decides to take up the role of a core for DUZA. Gonna wait and see what happens. Maybe they might shuffle around their heroes for now, but we're in this game too. DUZA currently up 1-0, and we'll see if they can close the series or if House of Gamers can bring it to a deciding Game 3. For House of Gamers, Wing Zero is going to be playing the Juggernaut. Malum is on the Ember Spirit Slash Strike. Zeus most likely heading towards mid with a moment on the Disruptor, and CY and the Elder Titan. Not surprisingly, it's Disruptor, Elder Titan to support, and then, well, these other three heroes, they could pretty much go wherever they want, and then, well, we'll see how the chips fall.
Yeah, every time I've seen House of Gamers run the Zeus, it is Slash Strike picking it up, and he often runs towards the mid, so I definitely do expect that. But from the side of DUZA, for the time being at least, the configuration is Limbo playing up on that 5 position. Dazzle got Captain Love on the 4 Skywrath Mage. It seems to be Lolik or Lolik on the Lion in the core role. Bignum playing on the 1 position. Naix and Sonic gonna pick up that Brewmaster. So hopefully the Brew will be able to create some space for Bignum here, because as you mentioned, it's almost as if all of DUZA's eggs are in one basket on the back of this Lifestealer.
So we talked a little bit about how House of Gamers are going to configure their lanes. With the core line, it seems, how do DUZA actually do it? Like, do you put Lolik in the mid lane? Do you throw the Brewmaster on this solo off lane? Do you still run this aggressive tri-lane? It looks like it's going to be dual lanes, actually. So Lolik's going to take a mid solo role. Bignum, Captain Love, bottom lane, and top lane, the Brewmaster's going to get a little help from Dazzle. These are not the strongest lanes in the world for DUZA. No. I think it's reasonable given the heroes that they have, but House of Gamers, even though that they don't have the strongest lanes in the world either, they certainly have enough power in whatever lane configuration they want in order to punish the way DUZA are laning right now. And it might start in the bottom lane as Bignum and Captain Love are going to get jumped. Is there smoke? Yes, there is. And the Glimpse is probably going to be leveled up here. They have a lot of damage, but they don't have the lockdown. If they run into someone and then get the chains off, that could be almost an instant kill. Bignum not going to see anyone just yet. Smoke being maintained. There's a smoke blown. Now Bignum knows exactly what's going on. Moment needs a glimpse, but it's really short level 1. Can he get the Thunder Strike instead? But they're just going to walk away. Yeah, this is the problem.
Yeah,
this is the problem.
Oh, nice searing chains from the high ground from Malum, but not a long enough duration. And Rage was skilled out by Bignum, so he's really not worried about much. Not sure why Thunder Strike was skilled there by a moment, but a little bit questionable from him. Either way, I guess they felt they couldn't kill off this Lifestealer with the Rage available. Yeah, I gotta agree with you, though. I feel like they could have put Sonic solo in this offlane and had the Dazzle cover the Nakes, but Echo Stomp goes out top lane onto Sonic's. Not a long enough duration, though. I don't think they'll be able to bring him down. Nice body blocking from a moment, though. There's the Arc Lightning, and the Thunder Strike will be there to finish him off. But what I was gonna mention is I feel like this Brewmaster could have been solo up there just because there isn't really much lockdown, and barring some very nice body blocks like that, I feel like he's fairly survivable. But even with the Dazzle there, Limbo did not skill Shadow Wave or Grave. He chose to skill Poison Touch there. So, interestingly enough, he'll let his Brewmaster fall.
Well, it's not the best start for DUZA. It's House of Gamers, I guess. If you're low on crowd control effects, then just body block, and that's a slow that every hero has in the game, and it may or may not work in the future. But when it does work, it's going to actually help them deliver that damage. If they had any sort of real hardcore stun, if the Disruptor was a Vengeful Spirit, let's say, then things could be looking so much better for them. But I think that was banned, or for whatever reason it's not in the game. It should have been banned. It's going to be a top lane brawl. Limbo in a moment duking it out. This is not going to be a fight that Limbo's going to be happy to take. Moment is going to just fall short, though he does have boots. Is not going to catch up in time. Sonic going to peel away and force that Disruptor away, but Dazzle with Poison Touch level 1, it's a pretty terrible skill. Doesn't really do that much, and Thunderstrike actually does some pretty decent damage, so top lane is going to be pretty much a slugfest. I don't know if DUZA can get that much accomplished here, but to be fair, if Dazzle was down this bottom lane helping out Bignum, he couldn't really be doing that much either. Yeah, they could even rotate over the Skywrath to the top, but probably don't want to give Wing Zero too much as an off-lane juggernaut. And Sonic will zone out a moment for the time being. He doesn't have boots, though, and a moment Rock walking around at 350 MS is easily able to scurry away from this Brewmaster. He'll even put a ward down in the large camp. Not sure if that was scouted out there by Sonic. He probably did see him turn. He'll get the clap off, but he's still running at 262 MS, so not too slow, and he will get back to full MS and walk towards that mid lane where he'll be met by Slash Strike here. Glimpse back onto the Brewmaster as well. Will stave off the aggression. There is an Earth Spike here, but it's not going to be in range from Lolik, so aggression stayed for the time being. Man, Sonic really wants this disruptor. I don't know if he realizes that Moment has boots right now. Moment is going to go all the way around because Lion does have boots. 2 points Earth Spike. One hit not quite going to kill off the disruptor, but he's still going. Sonic is completely abandoning the top lane, and Moment's just going to deny himself to the neutrals. Such a huge waste of time. Sonic missed so much experience up on this top lane. I don't know what the plan was there, but it wasn't really. It's not really how you want to spend your time walking around the entire map. Disruptor, I mean, he's a support. That's not really what you think of when you think of what supports are supposed to do. But if you could somehow waste the enemy's time on there, then, man, he did that very well.
Yeah, Malum's found 12 CS on the Ember Spirit to the 2 of the Brewmaster as well. Dazzle was not sitting in lane finding farm or XP, and he's just about to eclipse level 2 here, but definitely a huge win for a Moment, especially considering that he doesn't even die to the Radiant.
And top lane, Malum is going to go deep onto the enemy. Shadow Wave does a little bit of damage to Malum, but he's still burning away with the chains and the shield. Malum's going to get 1 kill. Sonic going to try to make it a 1-for-1, but I don't think he's going to be able to get it. A couple more hammer blows from CY. Just needs 1 more, and that's going to be a kill. Salve is there. Will cancel the kill for now. CY has 1 more spirit to cap. That will get the kill, but he will be at the trade of his own life. Limbo's going to return. Man, this top lane from DUZA is just falling apart. I mean, it's not really the best dual lane to begin with, but they're trying to make things happen against an Ember Spirit who, you know, they do a lot of damage, Ember Spirits, at very early levels, especially if you land those chains. So this is a lane that I thought DUZA would play a lot more conservatively, but instead they seem to think that they have the complete edge in this top lane. I think that's just not the case.
Yeah, definitely so. Something worrisome for them. Already 3-2 in the favor of House of Gamer, but either way, yeah, things not looking the best for DUZA here. Dazzle has picked up the utility build now, so he does have a point in the grave. They will be a little bit more survivable with that 5-second duration. He will have to be pretty close to Sonic at all times, though, to be able to get that off. But yeah, either way, nice start from Malum and crew on the Ember Spirit. 1-0-1, 15 CS for him. He'll find some more under the tower here.
That being said, bottom lane, Bignum is still free farming away, has gone for the pretty classic Lifestealer build, especially up against melee heroes. You get the phase boots, you get the Orb of Venom, you hit like a truck, and you slow them down the process. Nothing but good things for the Lifestealer. He's on top of the last hit chart by quite a large margin, and the Lion isn't doing too terribly either. The Ember Spirit's doing decently over on the top lane, but they might get a pick off on Limbo right now. Moment's going to close in for the glimpse back into a stomp. Limbo is so many layers of screwed right now. He has a grave. He'll use it. Maybe the Hellbears help him out a little bit. Oh, good. It's going to be close. No, Elder Titan gets the kill. And that's going to be a clean one going for House of Gamers. They're not getting the most CS, but if they keep feeding off of this top lane, man, CS is going to be secondary to that. And over towards mid, Lolik and Slash Strike duking it out, but Lolik is going to be so careful right now. Thunder God's Wrath is available. It won't kill off the Lion, not quite lethal, just short actually. And it looks like Lion is going to fall back. He's not at his level 6 either, but once this Lion does hit level 6, then I expect him to leave the lane and look for something else.
Yeah, he could even have some kill potential on this Zeus if he's able to harass him down enough, but Slash Strike probably a little bit smarter than to allow him to do that. Bignum's almost level 6 here. He's level 5.5 at the moment, but just free farming away is the big priority for him. Sonic postured up pretty aggressively once again in this top lane and is fairly susceptible to a gank, but a Moment has rotated back. Perhaps they are privy to that fact, so they will be able to play a little bit more aggressively. 2 points in the Shadow Wave now for Limbo. The physical damage nuke, very nice against the Ember mid lane. Looks like nothing much gonna happen here. Wing is in a precarious position.
Lolik and Slash Strike getting into a fist fight. Slash Strike barely juking out an Impale, but it might not be his survival after all. Their Impale is going to land. Finger of Death will kill off the Zeus. Let's see if they get response kill. Lolik is going to get stomped under tower range. That's going to be his death, making it 1-for-1. Lion is going to get the kill before he does go down. I guess the supports of HOG can be happy about that. Finger of Death is such an easy tool to get kills with, and Captain Love actually being chased down by Wing Zero. No Omni Slash for Juggernaut, just short of the experience for that, and Scarth is going to survive, make it back to base, but the Lion could get the kill like that pretty much on most of the heroes from House of Gamers. Thunder God's Wrath trying to snipe the Scarth Mage, but Captain Love with enough HP to survive that. The Lion could do that to pretty much everyone. Of course, the Finger of Death's cooldown is his main limiting factor. Once he has that up, everyone from House of Gamers has to be so careful.
Yeah, Limbo, a little bit of risky position top lane. He gets hit with an instant lightning bolt and the arc lightning. Malum, though, walking forward very low, and Sonic Gonna stand up there, but a moment is wrapping around. He's placed a deep ward as well. Jump forward from Malum. He's gonna pay with his own life. One big drunken brawler crit from Sonic. Grave is out a little bit too preemptively, and Sonic's gonna have to back off for the time being. A moment can rotate in with the glimpse, but also Captain Love is there, and Zeus will finish off Sonic.
And a moment. He's going to jump Limbo. There is a heal here. I think that'll help him survive enough. Yeah, 133 HP, he's fine. Captain Love now getting to get into a duel at the moment. His damage is not going to be enough. I really didn't expect the House of Gamers side to get into a fight over there. It seemed like they had DUZA on the run, but maybe not by as much of a margin as they really thought. Slash Strike and Lala gonna run into each other. Lion, level 4 Impale, pretty darn good, but with not much follow-up, can't get that kill. Either way, it's 4-6 in DUZA. They're on top of the last hit chart. They are just slightly behind House of Gamers. The fact that Lifestealer is getting absolute free farm and Juggernaut is getting next to nothing really is going to set the pace of this game. Wing Zero, even though he's a hero that doesn't really need to get anything, you would still expect Juggernaut to have a little bit more than 5 CS up against just a Lifestealer.
Yeah, definitely so. So things are going to stagnate for the moment. 8 minutes in, 6-4 is your score. Lolic not found too much farm because by virtue of having to rotate around, but he is still second overall on the CS chart. So the farm going the way of DUZA, despite them being a little bit headlong and for aggression in this top lane. Primal Split has been found by Sonic now, so with the Grave, he should be able to get that off fairly reliably. Has Bignum found any item progression? Maybe something coming on the Courier. Yeah, he's got his Midas recipe on the way over. It is a little bit late considering the kind of free farm he's had, but he did opt for those phase boots first.
Top lane Stomp is going to be dodged by Limbo, but the Spirit's going to walk through him, and here comes Malum's going to chain Limbo to the floor, but he's going to walk right into an Impale Finger of Death. That finger was not necessary at all, but it got the kill. A moment now going to get chased down by Limbo. Take a moment and see why we're going to be A-okay, but the support's dying and the Ember Spirit, or the support's living and the Ember Spirit dying is exactly not what House of Gamers wanted to have happen. The Brewmaster thought about using his ultimate there, but decided against it, so he still has that one in his back pocket. The Lion is, I mean, when you lane the Lion in the mid lane, his goal is to just get to a passable level of spike and then go around and killing things. And even though his finger was completely unnecessary there, he did his job. Sonic up on top is going to be, for this time, maybe leading House of Gamers on a Merry Goose Chase. Sonic, he's got to watch his mana pool. If he claps, he does not have enough for split, so he can't afford to do one. Well, there it is, and it's going to mean that he's going to have to pop his Majesty charges to get that split off, but he's going to get interrupted with chains. He does get it off in the end, as Dazzle does die to the Juggernaut in the meantime. And now the Brewmaster, he's just all alone, and he has to just run. I still don't know why DUZA are playing this top lane like this, but at least mid lane and bottom lane are going well for them.
Yeah, the one thing that is going well is they are having to commit a lot for House of Gamers to this top lane just for 2 heroes. Sonic is going to get glimpsed back and finished off, however. And Limbo a little bit too late to the party with only the level 1 Grave, not able to keep him up. Phase Boots picked up at the side shop from Wing Zero. So yeah, Bignum has found some free farm with his Midas as well. Not sure if it'll be enough to carry them though. Once again, as you mentioned early in the game, it certainly will now be all on the back of Bignum considering how much Sonic has died here. Somehow he still has 1100 gold and treads though, 2, 4, and 1 his KDA at this point. So his blink won't be terrible. It should be somewhere around the 17-minute mark at this point.
And DUZA, they just have to stop doing this stuff on the top lane. This is not how you're supposed to play it. It's especially up against so many heroes. House of Gamers are constantly rotating heroes up there just because they know DUZA are playing a very aggressive, can I even call it aggressive style up on this top lane? They're playing rather suicidally up on top, and Sonic's going to get into another fight with Malum. Here comes CY to help out. Malum, though, going to get nuked down very hard by the Shadow Wave. Ember Spirit did not see that one coming. That was 2 units and a hero healed by the Shadow Wave, and that's a hell of a lot of physical damage, and that's something that the Flame Guard does not protect against. So this time DUZA get the upper hand, surprising the Ember Spirit. I feel like every single time these fights happen, the supports are there for House of Gamers, they help out, but it's the Ember Spirit to die, and that's pretty much the best case scenario for DUZA.
Yeah, the physical damage nuke against the Ember is very effective. Infest Bomb mid, there's a blink on Lolic. He'll blink forward. He's not going to find Slash Strike, however, and that'll reveal his Blink Dagger here. They'll TP in a moment as well. Maybe they look to glimpse him back. He should be baiting himself with the Lifestealer infested inside him, but he actually decides to back off. He has the blink once again at the ready. Slash Strike playing fairly defensively, though, and they do see Captain Love alone in the bot lane. He has found his Mystic Flare now, so that's a bit of a win. Top lane, they'll pick off Malum once again.
Wow.
And and the
And
Ember
mid lane.
Spirit having a very terrible
They're
time.
going to go in, annihilate the Zeus, the Finger of Death. Bignum wants more. If he lands a single hit on the moment, that could be a kill, but he's going to fall short. Now Lolic is in a lot of trouble. Spin is going to clip him, and it will not be enough just yet. Turn around for an Impale. He's going to get glimpsed back. Lolic is doomed to fall. But he does have enough backup to make it so that he is not going to fall without some sort of trade. A moment's going to drop a Static Storm because why the hell not? You're going to die anyway. You might as well use the ultimate for no damage. That's the Investor Lifesteal, the Lifesteal Bomb that we really wanted to see, though I was watching top lane. I'm amazed by the fact that they actually got the kill on the Ember Spirit. Like, I guess he just didn't have a Spirit out and he got hit with the clap before he could throw a Spirit, but man, clap into physical damage nuke from the Shadow Wave, it's the real deal, and clearly they can get the kills when it's only one hero up there.
Yeah, and the Blink now picked up 12 minutes in from Sonic with 4 deaths. So somehow this top lane is panning out for them. Malem's chasing down Limbo right now. He'll drop the Weave. And he's got the Shadow Wave once again. He almost totally takes him out 1v1, but Malum gonna have to back off to a level 8 Dazzle right now. There's a Thunder God's Wrath though with the Echo Stomp. They'll finish off the Dazzle. Primal Split is used just to the south. CY gonna catch a Boulder Toss to the face. He's burning down to the Immolation. He runs through the kinetic field here, and he's gonna try and chase down CY, but the Healing Ward is there keeping him up. And there is help inbound for Sonic, but the Primal Split is about down now. Sonic gonna go back to his regular form. Omni slashed up. Echo Stomp is there as well, and Captain Love just a little too late to the party. Lolic finding a little bit of farm mid though, and is almost at his level 11. He blinks out promptly here, but he'll get glimpsed back into the kinetic field. Lolic doomed to fall. Blade Fury and the Earth Split are gonna be there to finish him off.
Alright, so I have no idea what's going on in this game anymore. I don't know why Brewmaster is trying to 1v4 with Split. Like, Split's a very good skill, it's very disruptive, but as far as doing damage, it's not really what you want. No. They're going to try to go for Malum. Huge Shadow Wave once again, this time with the Mystic Flare backup. Malum is going to die, yes. Just a couple of supports that do a hell of a lot of damage, that's mixed. And that's going to be yet another death of the Ember Spirit over in the top lane, but it might not be for free because over towards mid, Sonic, he's going to get Thunderstruck, which means no more Blink Dagger. He's going to land and clap onto a couple, but he's going to get annihilated by this Juggernaut. Here comes Bignum. He can't really walk through all of that with Rage and come out swinging, so he's going to let his ally fall. This is just getting to be such a messy game. Like, both teams just going in all in for all these kills, and I don't really know who's being favored, but CY doesn't move. That is not a good way to play the game. So he just literally stood there and gave DUZA a clean initiation in. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Either way, they're going to group up mid as 3 and look to take this tier 1. Blink forward from Lolic. He'll find Slash Strike with the Finger and the Impale. Ancient Seal's there as well. Hex, one more right click. Captain Love actually finding the kill there on Skywrath. So one thing with that Infest Bomb mid lane, Captain Love was able to find that max Ancient Seal. And you saw it do work there earlier on in the mid lane. They were able to bring down a couple. They'll translate this into a tier 1 as well. Lolic going to pick up the last hit there, so perhaps he'll be able to finish off his treads now with the Belt of Giant Strength and the Boots of Speed there. And perhaps maybe find a rune. Not all of them taken at this point. So still 2 Blink Daggers at the ready. They'll rotate through the Dire Jungle and look for something. They do have some pretty aggressive vision here, but they're not going to find anyone for the time being. Everyone in base for HOG.
But Sonic has a split and Limbo has a Shadow Wave, and that's all DUZA need to try to make something happen. Lifestealer right behind them now is not really the hugest powerhouse in the game, but he could certainly do the job when it's needed as far as physical damage is concerned. Lolic is here as well. No Finger of Death, so maybe DUZA would be better off backing up for right now, but even if they do, they've already taken a couple towers. In fact, they have lost none so far, and in just 30 seconds they'll have another Blink. Sonic has to be very careful though. This is, I mean, he's going to rely on his ultimate to escape, but I don't really know if you want to be reliant to escape. He's going to hit with Static Storm. He's not even going to walk to the edge of the Static Storm. He'll just die in there. And now an Omni Slash onto the Dazzle. He's going to grave himself and survive for a little while longer, but that is exactly not what you want to do if you're DUZA. I, once again, don't know what's going on with this Dazzle Brewmaster combo. It seems like sometimes it works when I'm not looking, but whenever I look at them, they just go ahead and suicide.
If nothing else, it's some comedic relief for us. But yeah, I guess Sonic anticipating the 4v1 Primal Split once again, but he just gets easily Static Stormed and bursted down. Either way, 2-man smoke from Lolic and Captain Love. Perhaps they look to find something with a Blink Spike Mystic Flare. Not the most ideal target in Wing Zero with the magic immunity, but Lolic, he has backed off now, so very wise play from Wing Zero. Jump forward, clap is not there, but there is the Hex. Finger, Mystic Flare not even needed. And they'll look
Got
to
him.
chase down Slash Strike as well. He doesn't have an Hex, though, as he did use it mid there. So they will find one kill.
Yeah, at least they didn't use the split. They overcommitted a little bit. Hey, they're going to get a courier as well, it looks like. Yes, they will. What did that courier have? That's a Yule Scepter completed for Slash Strike, and that is the more or less completed item. So a nice little pickup right there for DUZA. They overcommit a couple of their ultimates. I think Mystic Flare or Finger would have done the job, but decided to use both because why the hell not? That's fine because they got the kill on the Juggernaut. Not really the highest priority target for right now, but House of Gamers, they don't really have any huge priority targets. Speaking of, but Malum on the bottom lane is going to get jumped by Bignum. Almost going to complete 100 to 0 him. He's going to just fall short. Needs one more hit, but he can't quite get it. Now into the Infest he goes. He's going to play the neutral creep, or play the dire creep as the Earth Splitter does fly out. Will hit onto no one, and CY gets annihilated by the Shadow Wave once again. Lifestealer pops out, gets the kill. Now going to turn around with their help with the Brewmaster. This time actually doing his job and zoning everyone out. Another huge lifesteal bomb. Going to kill off the Juggernaut now into a Moment, who's stuck in his own Static Storm. Bignum not taking any damage from that one at all. Is going to clean up a Moment in a hurry, but it's not going to be for free because Slash Strike has arrived. Going to clean a couple of heroes up with Lightning Bolts here and there. Chain Lightning is going to kill off another as Lolic is going to get left behind. Slash Strike with a double kill as he brings down yet another. Looking for one more, although I don't think it's going to happen. Captain Love is just fast enough. I think House of Gamers actually take a one fight there. Yeah, barely. It's Zeus to arrive a little bit late to that fight, but once he does, man, he does some serious damage. And looks like DUZA, they just ran out of gas by the time Zeus arrived. They couldn't really focus him down effectively.
Yeah, unable to bring down Malum there is very unfortunate for DUZA. They end up trading 4 for 3 in House of Gamers' favor there. So, 4 staff going to be picked up here by CY. That's a nice little pickup for him. Bignum did have a very nice lead in terms of net worth. It's down to 2K now after that death. He's got 2,800 gold in his pockets, as well as the Midas. I hate being dead when Midas is off cooldown, but either way, he'll be up in 2 seconds. So maybe he looks to build into a Basher here, perhaps the Armlet. He does build a Basher instantly, so he will pick that up and go back out to start ripping some face. 19 to 17 is your score. HOG doing fairly well. A little bit of unusual play from the Master. Glimpse back onto Sonic. Blade Flurry will be there. He'll be stuck in the kinetic field, but Grave is here. There's no Static Storm, and he will get graved up right before the Echo Stomp. He should be able to get off his Primal Split, but it's on cooldown for 30 seconds. Thunder God's Wrath is there. One last tick from the urn. They're going to waste the Static Storm, but he goes down regardless. Captain Love not going to be able to TP out. He'll die to one last right click from the Disruptor. Meanwhile, top lane, Malum has been impaled by Lolic, and he doesn't want to use the finger into the Flame Guard, but he may be able to use it on a Moment here, and he will just accept his fate, it seems. There is an Earth Spike, though. Will go out only onto the Ember. Needed to hit at least the Earth Spike in the finger to bring down a Moment, but a Moment pretty tanky, 1,000 HP on this Disruptor.
And House of Gamers are just finding all the correct pickoffs right now, and in part because DUZA are just putting themselves in really bad positions. Like Lolic up there, I guess trying to get a kill on the Ember Spirit is worthwhile to try, but not when you put yourself in that much of a compromising situation. And Sonic getting glimpsed back. I feel like DUZA just are constantly forgetting that there's a Disruptor on the other end, and they're just relying on their Blink Daggers to escape. But if you get hit with a Thunder Strike, you're going to get hit with the Glimpse, and then you're just going to die. So for DUZA, they just have to be a little bit more careful. If they actually take a full 5-on-5 fight, yeah, they have to deal with Thunder God's Wrath. They have to deal with the slew of AoE ultimates that House of Gamers have, and the aura from the Elder Titan, but they can just go and assassinate Wing Zero. Now that's a good way to start. Echo Stomp's going to slow down Sonic, and actually they're going to not see the Elder Titan. Thought he was right next to Captain Love, but they're going to take down the Tier 1 tower regardless. They still have the split available, though it's not with that much mana in the tank for the Brewmaster. They could go for a little bit more. As long as DUZA are all together, I think they have enough. They have what it takes to take a team fight. It's just when they're all separated and all over the map, they just fall apart.
Yeah, certainly so. We did mention that it's off the back of the Disruptor, most of these engagements. He has placed his Static Storms and his Glimpses fairly well here, but when the Ancient Seal has landed on any significant target, it seems like DUZA takes most of these engagements. So as you mentioned, being together as 5 is definitely vital for them, and it does bode well in these team fights. And as you can see, HOG respecting it, but the Earth Splitter goes out, instant TP in from Wing. He's dropping really low, though, despite having the Blade Fury there. Earth Splitter does absolutely nothing to the Brewlings and the Raged Up Nakes. They're going to Cyclone up one here. He's going to get Hex. That's Slash Strike. Static Storm will only go down on the Brewlings, though. Glimpse back Lolic into it, though, with an Echo Stomp. Thunder God's Wrath, Lightning Bolt, finishing off the Lion before he's able to use his ultimate. Malum in trouble now, though. He'll be able to Sleight of Fist dodge, and Sonic getting really low. He'll be the next to fall as well. He gets graved up here, but Limbo as well as the Brew are doomed to fall here. He'll get cycloned up There's the lightning bolt with the echo stomp. Bignum just ports to the top lane to begin farming Roshan, now vulnerable to House of Gamers.
So what went wrong there for DUZA was the fact that Skywrath and Lifestealer were over to the left side, and they decided to book it, whereas the rest of the heroes, they had to run to the south, and House of Gamers had numbers advantage depending on which direction they wanted to go. Obviously, you go in the direction that the Lifestealer is not, and they ended up claiming a couple of kills. So DUZA, they annihilated the Juggernaut when he came in. The split gives you 3 units for free, so that you could hit him with a 3-man Shadow Wave, and that doesn't do the most damage in the world, but that certainly brings him down, especially if he's relying on his spin to get him out of there. It does go through because it's physical, and it was a nice start for DUZA, but if they, once again, keep themselves together, they do a very good job, but once they split up to any degree, and of course it's always like Dazzle and Brewmaster, because they're buddies, they've been like that for the entire game, then it just all starts to fall apart. If Lifestealer and Skywrath Mage were actually there, I'm pretty sure House of Gamers would have, they probably would have come out ahead, but they would have lost a whole bunch of heroes in the process.
Yeah, a really questionable play from this Brewmaster on Sonic. He's been caught out quite a bit, but either way, in the last 10 minutes, he's only been able to pick up an Ogre Club. Infestbomb from Lolik is queued up here, may find a moment as he runs to the high ground, but they're going to be in a lot of trouble here. Sleight of Fist seeing chains on 2. Lolik's going to drop even before the Disruptor. Bignum should be next to fall. He can pop a Drum Charge here, but he's going to hit with the Echo Stomp and the Omni Slash. They'll even use the Thunder God's Wrath, and they're not going to have any of that. They bring down a Disruptor for the highest net worth target on the map, as well as the second highest for DUZA, and that's a terrible trade for them. They'll also be able to translate this into an easy tier 1 push.
And we talked about how House of Gamers are lacking control in this game. They're pretty low on crowd control effects, but it actually doesn't matter when the enemies voluntarily put themselves in melee range of all of your heroes. Like, they could have, well, first of all, they're going to try to go for Malum, but the shield going to block most of that flare, and Malum's going to be A-okay. Ursula even coming through just to zone everyone else out. They could have just fingered the Disruptor and then stood a chance at escaping, but they decided to play it greedily. Lion held onto the Finger of Death. He still has it available, and they got the kill on the Disruptor in the end, but just took them a little bit too long. If they were able to just jump in, kill the Disruptor, dump everything, and then book it, they could have been fine. Even Lion, I'm pretty sure, could have just Impale Fingered, a couple right clicks would have gotten the job to blink away afterwards.
And he could have blinked, yeah.
It's once again just DUZA deciding to do things as small squads, and that's usually a great way to play the game, but only when you do it well. And so far, they have not been doing it well. Whenever they split up, again, they just all die. So it's frustrating to see for sure, but it is also testament to how House of Gamers, even though they're not taking the most convincing fights when shit hits the fan, they still have a lot of damage, and all that damage is being amplified by the Elder Titan. Things get really dangerous for DUZA if they have poor positioning, and they've had poor positioning for the majority of this game.
Sonic once again on a suicide mission here, but they don't find Malum in time. He will be able to zip out to a defensive remnant. This will leave Roshan available to DUZA, but they have the Infest Bomb queued up, and they don't have the quickest Roshan lineup. They do have the physical nuke from the Shadow Wave, but it doesn't look like they're too willing to go in here. They may jump in now with Lolik. Infest Bomb going to be used. Bignum can tank this up with the Hyperstone and the Basher. He's fairly quick, and he'll use the Open Wounds as well. Ancient Seal up on the Roche, so they'll be able to put a little bit more magic damage into him. And they should be able to sneak this, but it will come at the cost of their offlane tier 1. So still a good trade for DUZA, but either way, HOG finding something on the map.
They're not going too fast right now, DUZA. The Roshan is going to fall, but if House of Gamers were so inclined, they could all just teleport down to the bottom lane and then crash this Roshan. It would be a little bit of a messy fight, as you're going into a split, you're going into a farm line, but now they're going to see that everything is as it is, and Roshan is a little bit too late to be contested. Aegis now in the hands of Lifestealer, but if he's not in the middle of the fight, it's not really going to matter too much. Brewmaster going to get glimpsed back, however, he will cancel it with the split. And, well, he is just chilling down towards the bottom. They bait out the Static Storm, but Split is not supposed to be used like that. So, I don't really even know what time it is that the Brewmaster, messed up and got caught out with the glimpse. He's now going to resume his form back where the glimpse happened, because that mechanic makes sense. But either way, Sonic is putting himself constantly in precarious situations. If he just is not there every single time, he would be so much more useful for the team.
Yeah, Bignum's gap in terms of the net worth has shrunk quite a bit as well. At one point, it was about 4K over the Zeus. Now it's about 2K over the Ember Spirit. The Ember Spirit's picked up his full Battle Fury as well as an Ogre Club. So Malum's starting to become relevant despite that very precarious start from him. 5, 5, and 13 on the KDA. So he has been involved in 18 of HOG's 27 kills. And you'll probably see that across most of their heroes. They've been able to ball up and punish, as you mentioned, DUZA for trying to find kills in these ganking squads, and perhaps that's a virtue of having so many stand-ins that you only communicate very well in pairs as opposed to all 5. But either way, HOG doing a good job of punishing them and posturing themselves up defensively with one another.
And House of Gamers, they're getting more and more damage. Soon they're just going to be able to brute force their way through all of DUZA just with right clicks alone. They're going to smoke up his 5, and they know that there's a Dazzle here. There's still a Dazzle here, actually. Limbo is going to get glimpsed back almost for sure into a kinetic field, and yes, that will be the case for him. He has the Grave up already. Means no Omni Slash is going to be committed. Lion's going to take out Ember Spirit in the back end, but Bignum's going to walk right into an Omni Slash. He's going to get annihilated, losing the Aegis immediately, but now he's in a pretty good position. Sonic's going to blink forward with the clap. Doesn't have a split, though, because he was forced to use it defensively previously. Wing Zero going to go with the spin onto Sonic as Bignum's going to lay into a moment, gets forced half down to the low ground. Sonic's still alive from the spin. Now it's going to be Slash Strike to be in the most trouble. Needs one more hit. They just fall short, but he's going to fall right into a Scarith Mage. He might die to this bolt, but I don't really know if that's going to be enough. Meantime, everyone else on DUZA going to be A-okay. It's just a 1-for-1 trade plus the Aegis. Scarith Mage a little bit banged up, but Bignum wants to go for a little bit more. It's going to be Sonic to run into CY. They walk right into an attempted stomp from CY, but he ends up getting Hex, and now he's going to be brought down by the Brewmaster. And at the same time, Bignum's going to go for a moment. The Glimpse is going to be dodged by the Rage, and a moment is going to be bashed down by Bignum. It's a messy fight. It's a fight that DUZA take without the split, but they come out ahead regardless.
Yeah, the Grave keeping up the Dazzle. Malum committing a little bit too far forward for the Dazzle. He used all 3 of his remnants early on and therefore fell without any ability to defensively remove himself from that engagement. They drew out the fight very nicely from HOG. They forced Staff a moment down to the low ground, kept him up. They Yulesed up the Zeus and glimpsed back the Nikes one time as well. But eventually he was able to get to the Disruptor, and they make it a 3-for-1 in their favor.
Now Bignum has enough cash to pick up an Assault Cuirass. It's a great item on Lifestealer pretty much no matter what game you're in, but up against an Elder Titan when you have 0 base armor, that every single scrap of armor is going to be so incredibly useful. Now they're going to jump onto Malum and annihilate him. BKB only helps when you're not a fish, so that's not really going to do much for him. Stomp is going to be thrown, won't connect onto anyone. With the Ember Spirit down, I think DUZA should be able to take down this tier 2 tower without too much trouble from House of Gamers. Sonic also does have his split, so now is about the time when your Brewmaster wants to get caught out with the Glimpse. You can just dodge it all with the split, but taking a tier 2 tower, then sliding down to the bottom lane, taking 2 tier 2s is also a reasonable way to go. And House of Gamers still 40 seconds until their Ember is up. Even when he is up, the split from Sonic is just so disruptive, as long as they could throw the Zeus into the air. I think if they do that, then DUZA just instantly win the fight. Yes? Okay, well, there's the split. A moment is going to be forced Staff down to the low ground, and he's going to be chased down by a Fire Spirit. He might die. He needs a couple more hits. There's a long-range hit from the Storm aspect. Going to claim the kill on Disruptor. That's not really the split they really wanted, but it gets a kill anyway, and that's reasonable enough. Unfortunately for DUZA, there are no creeps here, so this is not really going to result in anything. Using a split for a Disruptor like that, not entirely sure if that's worth it.
Well, it's more than they've gotten off most of these splits so far.
True.
We had the 1 4v1 split, the 1 defensive split, so I guess it's better than what's been happening. Either way, Mithril Hammer picked up now for Sonic, so perhaps he will be able to survive a little more and use the splits when he chooses at these points. With a cover of BKB, he will be able to survive a little longer before having to pop that. Slash Strike has 2,800 gold, so he's only 100 away from a full Aghanims at this point, so that'll be a nice pickup for HOG. We've already seen how impactful he is in these fights with the burst damage that he's able to offer, especially against a Core Lion as well as the Skywrath Mage and the Dazzle. They're all very squishy targets for him to go for, and they will look to push the tier 2 in the bottom lane for DUZA. Perhaps they are running into their own death here without the split.
Well, Bignum's going to Rage, take down the tower, then everyone's going to fall back. Glimpse is there, and they land a Stomp onto 1. Gets forced staffed over to the side. Sonic's in so much trouble right now, especially when he has a 1-man Omni Slash. Lucky him. He's actually not going to die to it. Wing Zero now in a precarious situation. He's going to be the first one to fall. Sonic, graved up, is maybe in a little bit of trouble because of the Spirit. No, he's going to be just fine. Bignum, rather, going to land a Slash Strike, gets 2 kills. It's going to be a line to fall on the sidelines. That's a reasonable trade for DUZA so far, especially when they go for Malum. He's going to get stunned right before he can jump out. Then the huge physical damage nuke onto 4 creeps and a hero. That's going to kill off the Ember Spirit. Bignum is just having everything go his way in this fight. They're just throwing themselves one at a time into the hands of the Lycio, and that's never what you want to have happen. Sonic still has a split now in 5 seconds, and House of Gamers, they're going to have to either buy back or lose a tier 3 right now, as I don't think DUZA are going to stop. They know that there's only a couple supports. They're going to blink forward deeply, looking for a moment. The grave is there. The kinetic field is going to slow down Sonic, but it won't stop Bignum unless they mess up. There you go. Kill him off through the mech. Now Elder Titan's the only one alive. This tower going to take quite a beating. DUZA not really with the best pushing lineup, but they do have the Assault Cuirass for some minus armor. And House of Gamers, they have 20 seconds until they actually stand a chance at fighting. Elder Titan can't really do that much, especially when he gets open wounds. Or open wounds, I guess. Now Bignum's going to just lay into him. CY down. Juggernaut's up, but everyone else is down. So House of Gamers taking this exactly the worst possible way you can by throwing yourselves in one at a time after another. And that's going to lead into the destruction of their bottom lane. Rax is down, and DUZA now have a significant lead in this game. Let's see if they get anyone glimpsed back in the process. With Disruptor Jet, I don't think is a possibility. Though Brewmaster is going to get thrown up into the air. He is going to split out of necessity. Is he going to turn around and fight? He really shouldn't, although I don't really know if he can escape. Limbo's going to duel with Malum in the meantime. Malum remembers what happened last time this happened. This time there's a Brewmaster here. Limbo's going to get annihilated by the ultimate of Zeus, as Brewmaster now is awkwardly all alone. How does this keep on happening? Seriously, this is like the 5th time this happened. Sonic is going to get chained to the floor, and he will be brought down eventually. The Lion's kind of close, but he gets a little bit too far away to actually help out. That's like the 6th or 7th. No, Lolik, move. Whoa, okay, Lolik just feels like dying, I guess. So Lolik is going to die because he forgot that he can move his character.
This is the most incredible team play I've ever seen
I don't know.
Pro Dota.
I have no idea. I mean, first of all, how does the Brewmaster and Dazzle, how do they always find each other? And how come Lion isn't moving? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we saw CY earlier on the Elder Titan just standing in mid to feed his life over, so perhaps that was the trade back. Regardless, Bignum is the Bash Lord, so I really think DUZA is still going to take this one. He's picked up a full Abyssal Blade. Now, we take a look at the metrics, and it is a 10k net worth lead for DUZA, surprisingly enough. 5k in the way of experience after feeding over Lolik there in the mid, but with the disable offered from the Lion, they should be able to give Bignum enough room to continue to chop down most of the lineup of HOG. Malum hasn't picked up much. He has picked up a BKB now, but still, the physical damage nuke, very worrisome for him. Only 1600 HP for him at this point, and he has been dropping to it pretty often, but he will not be susceptible to those slows from the clap and the open wounds with the BKB now.
Roshan is almost up, and DUZA, they took the last one pretty easily. They should probably be looking to take the second, or is this the second one? Maybe the third one. The next one as well, since bottom lane, though it is pushing right now towards DUZA, it will slowly go the other way. House of Gamers, are they really just going to ball up and try to push the top lane? That seems pretty bold, but hey, you know what? If you go to top lane, Sonic and Limbo are going to meet the call. They're going to jump in, looking to go for this Dazzle. They'll glimpse him back, has a mech, has a hood, but that's not going to be nearly enough. It was just waiting for the Brewmaster Dazzle to come around, and like clockwork, they always come together.
Fest Bomb is queued up here for Sonic, but it looks like everyone going to back off from House of Gamers. Bignum will pop out of the Brewmaster for now, so they do lose Limbo there, and doesn't look like they'll be too willing to push forward, although Sonic, the martyr he is going to run into the creep wave all by his lonesome. Omni Slash is available here. He's going to get hit with the Sleight of Fist Searing Chains. He'll have to use the split once again, but they may be able to get something off his Finger of Death. Going to bring down a moment early Abyssal Blade onto Malum, and a very nice bait from the Brewmaster this time. They'll bring down Wing Zero as well. Last right click from Sonic will finish him off. Eul Scepter from Captain Love goes out onto CY. He'll get the Ancient Seal off as well, and they will bring him down as he tries to TP. Triple kill for the Brewmaster, and I guess it's a case of Cry Wolf. I mean, he dies so many times, you just think he's food after a while, but this time, pro bait coming out
11 times. 11 times it's food, but that 12th time is going to get you. Oh man.
12 times a charm for the Brewmaster. They'll bring down the wave here. Top lane, 3 buybacks unavailable for the Disruptor, ET, and Ember Spirit. And they can definitely take at least the tier 3, if not a lane or Rax here.
Did you know, guys? Did you know that Brewmaster is a really good hero when he has the rest of his team with him? Because we're learning stuff all day over here. Because it turns out Brewmaster just found out that fact just now. And That's going to kill off one tier 3 tower. House of Gamers, they're going to respawn in force. Bignum might actually get glimpsed back. Lightning Bolt not quite going to give the vision, but it will be the Skywrath Mage to get lifted up into the air. Has a Yule Scepter, so he'll re-lift himself up, but he's going to fall right into a sword, and Slash Strike actually missed a Lightning Bolt. I don't know how you do that, but they get the kill anyway. Either way, it's a tier 3 tower down. Not the most gained from DUZA, but still the bottom lane is in full breach. Still, it's a victory for the DUZA side, and still Roshan is available for them. Lifestealer packing 4,800 Gs. He could go for pretty much whatever he wants, and he could be pretty happy getting it. It's House of Gamers. They are really just desperate for a solution right now. Wing Zero used his Omni Slash on a Brewmaster last fight. Got him down pretty low, but Split is going to nullify all of that, so it's not exactly the best way to go, and Sonic is going to get... Oh, he's going to dodge the Static Storm this time. Brewmaster is evolving, he's learning, and now he's going to bait in for Lolik. How good is the spike? It's only going to land onto 2, but Slash Strike is still going to take a fall regardless. Omni Slash doing next to nothing with all these heroes here, and Wing Zero is now in a lot of trouble. Abyssal Blade, not available, but I don't even think it's necessary since Wing Zero is getting beaten down by Sonic, and CY is stuck in a corner. He'll try to force staff himself up, and he does do it, but Lolik is going to give chase, even draining his mana, because why the hell not? You might as well refill the tank. Vinegar Death available, not needed. Ember Spirit's the only one to live because he was nowhere near that. And now DUZA, they're going to push in the bottom lane, though I think they should slide down to another lane. This should be, at the very least, a tier 3 tower, maybe even top Raxes. Zeus and Ember Spirit don't really have enough to defend against all these heroes.
Yeah, I don't know if Sonic's just learning a little bit of unfortunate luck. The recall duration on the glimpse there was very short, and that allowed him to blink before the Static Storm was dropped. I guess a moment expected it to be a moment longer, no pun intended. But either way, they'll bring down the tier 3, and it should be an easy lane of Rax with no buyback on Wing, as well as CY and a moment. Malum gonna jump forward under his BKB here, but he will be jumped on by Sonic, who's hitting pretty hard with that level 4 Drunken Brawler. He will throw a clap into absolutely nothing, and then Split here, but the Shadow Wave once again. Huge nuke onto Malum. Jump forward, Hex out onto Slash Strike as well. There's the Earth Spike and the Finger Mystic Flare to finish things off. And we're about in GG territory as they will find Mega Creeps here. Malum gonna call it.
That was the weirdest game, or one of the weirdest games I have ever seen. Like, through all the Brewmaster Dazzle shenanigans, it doesn't completely make the team fall apart. It just kind of gives a little bit of advantage to the House of Gamers side. But either way, DUZA ultimately close out the game, and they close out the series as well, 2-0, and they're going to be dropping House of Gamers down to the lower bracket. DUZA going to stay up in the winners. That is going to be it for the SLTV Pro Series for today, guys. More coming up tomorrow, but for right now, we sincerely hope that you enjoyed the stream here on Hefla TV 1. If you did, be sure to hit that follow button. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well, just allthat.com/HeflaTV. I'm Mikelorus. He's MRP_Dota on Twitter, both in the title. We have more Dota coming up. What is it actually? I don't know. Is it going to be on this?
HTV2 has Cole versus Team right now. I believe that's maybe even in game 2 at this point, so definitely check it out, guys. Just change the 1 to a 2 at the top of your browser there. But the mental game's very strong from the Brewmaster and Dazzle in this one, and too strong for HOG to figure out.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for us. Just a couple of songs I'm going to host over to TV2, and that's about it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. GG.
GG.